Hello MBTI lovers. Tonight I would like to drink wine while Sasha and I discuss phenomenon. Phenomena? Phenomenon. Phenomenon. Do, 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 do. I don't even think that's what they say. Called the INTP black hole. Before I start talking about that, I would first like to say that INTPs are some of my absolute favorite people in the universe. There's something about INTPs I feel that just melds with an ENTP. They're kind of perfect counterbalances for each other. I honestly think they could even be a great romantic pairing, provided that at least one of them has done sufficient work developing their F. At least one. If both of them, good to God, yeah, be so much fun. But I haven't got my paper and pen so that I could write about this. So I could explain why the INTP and the ENTP make such a great duo. So, are any of these sharpened? This is the story of the life of an ENTP with ADHD. So, first we're going to go... Shit, this is stupid to use a pencil. Not going to be able to see it. Okay, so first we're going to do INTP's functional stack. Okay, so I hope this isn't backwards. How is that? Oh, it's a little card for my students. They were taking notes on one of their guest speakers. So, unlike ENTP, which I explained in a different video, what the letters mean. Here, should I hold this back here? So we have introverted thinking. That is the dominant function. And then the goose pilot is extroverted intuition. Then comes sensing. I didn't go through these for ENTP, but I'll show you in just a second. So then we have introverted sensing, extroverted feeling. So now I'll do ENTP. It's pretty crazy. Okay, so now here's ENTP. So if you'll see, that's an N. Gosh, my penmanship. Alright, so now we have ENTP, right? So like I said in my other video, we have extroverted intuition as the dominant function with the goose as introverted thinking, and then FE and then SI. FE is extroverted feeling, SI is introverted sensing. So if we hold them up together, check out what happens. It's really cool. So, every two letters swaps, right? The really cool thing that I can show you that this means by holding these up, okay, so we both use extroverted intuition. Extroverted intuition, if you have it in your top two functions, there's something very magical about extroverted intuition. I've read before that it's one of the purest forms of seeing the world. It's no filter. That's what it is. I have no filter, you know. On, like, Instagram, I don't do Instagram because I like words too much, but, you know, or people post pictures, no filter. That's what extroverted intuition is like. So, what this means about us is that our very first thing that we're going to do is perceive the world, right? And then we're going to think about it. An INTP, instead, is going to already have made categories. And then they're going to see the world just from all these different ways that we do, you know, because they're also perceivers. But they are going to put them into categories that they've already formed. It's almost like a J. Now that I'm talking about this out loud, this almost seems J-like to me. Because their first thing that they want to do is to understand how to construct models, to understand people, society, the world. Their very first thing that they want to do is to construct their understanding of something. And that takes a lot of work to do. And they have NE as their perceiving function, gathering information all the time. So they think first and then use NE to keep on building their theories. What comes next is SI for them. So SI is introverted sensing. So rather than sensing in the external world, it's sensing within yourself. So, you know, it's like remembering faces. It's like nostalgia. It's memories a lot of the time. And then they have FE, which is extroverted feeling, which is a social kind of feeling. It's based on the world around you more than delving inside of yourself. this means that these are the two that you use the most. Like when you think about the car model, the driver, passenger, and then the two in the back seat. And this one over here is the one that's probably always kicking, the one that's like really naughty. If you have FE as your last function, it's not even introverted feeling. You're all complete logician over here. Feeling, where it does finally come in at the very end, kicking, thinking, it's still based on the outside world more than what you actually feel inside. So you're a very analytical thinker. You have a very hard time feeling for other people if it doesn't make sense to you. You're not going to be the empathetic person at all. Now we go to ENTP. So we have extroverted, I've already been through this, but extroverted intuition. So we are first, we do that before we start to think about it, before we start to categorize. So we're looking everywhere before we start to try to build structures, So we are the opposite of them in this way. That is why they're the architect, because they are building these models for their understanding. So, our perceiving P over here helps us gather all this information via intuition, and then we build how we understand things. Then we have FE as our third function. So that means that naturally, anyway, before we've tried to do any work on ourselves, and everybody's different on their scales, but so this is the one where we look around and we try to take the emotional climate around us. We try to keep things peaceable a lot of the time. Well, that's not totally true, but we do like things to be more harmonious. We also do not mind getting in a fight. If the situation calls for it, we will rock that boat. And some naughty ENTPs love rocking the boat. Okay, and then SI is our last one. So that is our internal sensing, our recall and memory and thoughts and feelings inside of ourselves. Even like eating and things like that, which we're terrible at. So, as you can see, ENTP and INTP make such great playmates because we are not going to insult each other very easily. We've got two NITE users, which means we get to connect with extroverted intuition, which means we're going to be able to see things a lot of ways. INTP is going to be a lot harder to win over than an ENTP because thinking comes first. They're building the structures first. If you want me to change my mind, ENTP, then you better really solidly argue this because I put a lot of fucking time into this structure and I do not really want to have to rebuild it, but I will if you can prove that it makes sense. And ENTP says, great, because I love to play devil's advocate. I love to see different people's point of view. You are fascinated because you think a lot of the same things that I do, even though you think a lot harder about them. Let's do this. They both love to debate. They usually can probably debate or even conversate. They can disagree till the cats come home. Cows come home. I just like cats. And most often they can walk away at the end of the day and still be homies. Like there's nothing wrong, if this is a healthy relationship. There's something about an INTP as well. I think I've read about it before described as almost like a childlike innocence, and also a childlike love for friends, for their mates, for their family. There's something very childlike and pure about it. I agree with this, when this is a healthy relationship, because ENTPs are like big kids too, and there's something about this that's more childlike, I think in kind of an introverted way. INTP are going to be more standoffish. They're going to be quiet and shy, more often, at least at first. And they're going to be kind of doing this to everybody because they're thinking first, They're not just observing. First their thinker's going off, and then they're trying to see things and fit it into whatever they believe already. If they see something about somebody, they will automatically make a leap of their intuition and categorize. That's how they fall flat on their face. Like ENTPs just go for it, best case scenario every time. INTPs will make the leap of faith and not have enough sufficient evidence to back it up, but they will already put it into their category. But why these two work so well together is because the INT just bursts in onto the, or ENTP will just be like, bam, 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 play with me, play with me, play with me, until the INTP realizes they have so much in common that they give up, because otherwise the ENTP is just going to annoy the shit out of them, and then they find out they have a shit ton in common, and they have an awesome time together, and they can laugh about the dumbest stuff, but a lot of the same stuff. If an ENTP needs like a sticker picked off of something, the INTP is the right person to do it. ENTP can't do it. Like if there's a big old sticker on like a pair of glasses you need to wear, the ENTP is just going to wear them around all night. The INTP will take them off the face of their friend and sit and meticulously pick the sticker off. You know what I mean? And so that's a way that they can care about each other. Where an ENTP is not going to be suspicious or whatever. That's if an INTP even gives a shit about what's going on around them. You know, about people at all. And I think there are different levels for INTPs. Like if they are like socially, if they care about people, if they are just like up in their theories all the time. But I would say first for an INTP is definitely going to be some kind of suspicion. But when you get to know them, they are a bloody blast. I love them. They're so funny. And I don't know that many. I saw this like meme one time, and it's just like this puppy going like this to a kitten, or maybe it's a kitten doing this to a puppy. I don't know. I feel like this is more of an INTP, ENTP thing, like where you're just like, I love you, INTP, and they're like, yeah, I know. And the INTP is kind of like off in their own little world all the time, but they really like it when like the ENTP shows up to like kind of draw them out. And the INTP also loves that the ENTP will draw them out and will do the talking for them when it needs to happen. They will be the bridge for the INTP, at least socially, you know. And honestly, most of the time, these two can get along so well because they have that perceiving, they can take many viewpoints. It's just this crazy cool flip-flop going on. So one's definitely going to be the more introverted one, more opinionated because of TI. They're actually both very opinionated, but this one spent a lot more time forming their structures because they're the architects. So now I'm going to have a drink of wine now that I'm all ramped up, and I think I'll just have to make a second video to describe the black hole. Cheers.